is a Bramble Jam podcast. Hello, world. I'm Bran, and I love Hallmark movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise Hallmark movies.
And I am Marcus Rosner, and I act in them.
And this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast. Hello, everybody.
Oh, boy.
My wife has been getting on me because I'm not drinking enough water these days. So I am drinking the water, and I just wanted everyone to know that I'm
old are you? Are you doing the bit where you're like, honey, if you're listening,
hey, honey, sweetie pie, I'm doing
years old?
I just want her to know that I care. Like, I care about my body. I care about my health. I'm drinking my water.
You are. You got a body armor there.
Body armor.
You're loading up.
Double fisting.
Carving up, watering up, hydrating.
That's all. And then candy behind
I don't know
those
why
things.
we're starting with this.
I don't know. Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing well. Very excited for today.
Dude.
Gosh, who is this guy? What's he done before?
Dude, you don't know about Marcus Rosner?
What's his deal? Isn't he the guy who's like behind Macklemore or something?
No. That's Ryan Lewis.
Okay.
Different guy. Different white guy altogether.
Okay.
Different white guy altogether.
Right.
You know what's wild?
What's that?
My first question to Marcus is actually, on your IMDb, it says you're Marcus Rosner of Arrow, from Arrow. But when I look up in your IMDb, it doesn't say that you were on the show Arrow. And so I'm very interested just as to where the lie is.
Yeah, no, I'm the guy to clear that up, I guess. I Marcus Rosner of Arrow. That's very flattering. I did 2 apps, and they should be on there unless somehow Arrow has chosen to distance themselves from me and just remove me. But
we cannot be associated with Marcus Rosner.
Yeah, they were like, no more. Get him out of there.
After your breakup with Macklemore, they said, let's
yeah. By the way, I would happily change or trade lives with Ryan Lewis. That'd be a good switch.
It would be.
Yeah, no, I did an ep in the first season, then an ep in the last season. So very briefly, but maybe you might have missed it. I'm not gonna play the blame game, but it could be on there.
Yeah, it has it like as the first picture under your stunning profile picture. But then if I click in the view all, it just I scrolled.
What year would that be?
No, I got Max Fuller. Max Fuller, is that who you were?
Max Fuller, yeah.
There he is.
So you found it.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, there it is. That stuff's all automated. It is funny what IMDb with the algorithm sort of chooses to attach you to, and it's like you could have done one walk-on appearance in an A&W commercial, and then it's like that's your claim to fame, I guess. But I played a nightclub owner and had beef with Oliver Queen, Stephen Amell's guy there.
Yeah.
Did you get to do a little fight scene?
Yeah. It was actually one of my first professional gigs ever. I think I shot that in 2012 and it aired then. And he kicked my ass a little bit, if I remember.
That's
right.
fair. He is Arrow.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Arrow. You're just a nightclub owner. He's Arrow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a fair fight.
I had a bunch of henchmen, and they sort of jumped in and dusted him up a bit. And yeah,
they brought you back for the last season, though.
They did.
Yeah, I think that the idea was like, honestly, if I'm guessing correctly, I came on, I was so fresh, and I think they had plans for this character to be somewhat recurring, and maybe they were like, this guy is 22 years old. And our lead is a 33-year-old jacked man, and just he doesn't present the appropriate foil that we were looking for. And so I just seasoned over 8 years, and I came back and was a little bit more of a man. And no, I think that they just wanted to have another appearance of my character before they wrapped up the series, I think.
Did you get to fight him again?
Did you get beat up again?
Yeah, sort of. I pulled a gun. And then he shot an arrow, and then he shot the gun out of my hand. And the high-tech process by which that was accomplished was I just threw the gun, and then they CGI'd it an arrow in the show. But I was kind of a sniveling character. It wasn't very brawny. But
wasn't becoming.
I watched Arrow for a minute.
I watched the first couple of seasons, like everyone else did, and then stopped halfway through.
There was a weird storyline on one of the seasons. I was
they just kept everybody was alive all the time. Like you could never kill anybody on that show. So
I read the pilot for that show. I actually auditioned for Oliver Queen. It was like one of the first big things.
Oh wow!
For. Yeah, and I remember reading the pilot, being like, "Oh, this is so anti-CW, and like it was very much in the Christopher Nolan vein of like sort of trying to ground it. And so I was in the third ever app before the entire thing aired, and I was like, oh, this is going to be like actually a cool show. And then by the time I got there for the 8th season, they were like going through different multiverses, and there was magic and stuff, and so it seemed like a bit of a change. But
they CW'd it up. Don't worry.
They made it a CW. CW won over Nolan there for sure. And Marcus, I want to hear about where you're from and how you got into acting. I'm assuming you're from Canada because you were in an episode of Supernatural, and so that does narrow that down for me a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny. You can always tell where an actor's from by like all their credits. So which city has all these particular shows. I have very much a Vancouver resume up to the last couple of years. Yeah, I'm from a small town in northern Alberta, Canada, called Sherwood Park, Alberta. It's just outside of Edmonton, home of the Edmonton Oilers, I guess, is our biggest claim to fame.
Are you an Oilers fan?
Massive. And
massive Oilers fan.
Playoffs start tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Wow.
10 p.m. Eastern.
That's okay though. He got his rest. He's ready to go.
That's right. That's why you slept in today.
I know. I'm in Toronto these days. Honestly, that was part of it. I was like, I'm gonna stay up a little late tonight because I'm gonna be late tomorrow.
That's right. In the head.
Yeah, it'll get interesting once we start shooting that movie. I got to pull it up on set and be a jerk, but gotta watch. Yeah, no, from that little town, and honestly, our biggest claim to fame, there's the Oilers and oil itself, and so there's a lot of trades and stuff. Nobody I knew was ever in this sort of business. And then when I graduated from high school, I had a single mother for the first 10 years of my life. By the time I graduated, she had gotten married, but one of our long-term dreams was to like go to New York City and see this big flashy town that we had seen in movies growing up and stuff. And so we went there, and we were walking down Broadway Boulevard, and I saw this New York Film Academy, and we ducked in there, and I kind of was asking some questions like, what do you do here? I didn't take drama or anything in high school. I was a big jock, and then when I got back to my hometown, I just Googled like the closest film school because my interest had been piqued. And then I saw Vancouver Film School, went out there, took their acting essentials program, and then went traveling for the next couple of years to Australia and Fiji and all these different parts of the world with a temporary girlfriend. And then
not a permanent one.
No, it was a good learning process relationship for both of us. Happily married now to someone else.
Man, you really must not like this girl. I want that story.
No, I hope she doesn't see. It was complicated.
We won't dive into it. Trust
you made
me.
it complicated, man. I didn't say a word. You said temporary girlfriend.
Well, to be fair, she made it complicated, but
oh, look out! You hear that, Janice? I'm calling her Janice.
That's Marcus, classic Janice, though. That's classic Janice.
Janice from Alberta. So then I got back to Vancouver in my early 20s and was bartending for a few years, and then various networks like Hallmark found me, and the rest is history.
So you didn't do any sort of this in high school where you were like in all the plays and your parents were dragging you around to commercial auditions. You're playing like hockey and stuff, and then all of a sudden you're 18 and you're like, yeah, theater sounds cool.
Yeah, it's so weird, right? I was just such a big jock. I was playing hockey. I did the requisite like 7 years of hockey as a Canadian youth, and then I was captain of the rugby team, and I played volleyball and did a little bit of football, all these different sports. And I never, honestly, our school was like divided down the middle. All the drama nerds were on one side, and all the jocks were on one side, and I just thought they were weird. And it's like one of my biggest regrets to this day, because now I go back and I actually produce these films, and I make them in Edmonton, and I'm trying to bring more film and television there, and these particular types of films and starring them in them as well. But we go back, and I talk to the drama students now, and I tell them this exact story, and I'm like, I wish I had taken this. Like, I didn't even know this theater room in our school existed at the time.
Wow.
And, yeah. So we get some of them walk-on roles in our movies and stuff to sort of try to energize their spirit towards the entertainment industry.
So did you and Janice, did you meet in high school?
We met on a bar.
I don't know who's going to be more upset, Janice or Marcus's wife, after listening to this.
Go ahead. My wife is going to get a biggest kick out of it. We met on a pub crawl post high school. you can drink very early in Alberta and go to the bars very early. 18 is when we were going to the bars, and so I think I was like just turned 18, and we met on a pub crawl, and
All right.
yeah.
Well, more on that later. So you walked into the film school in New York. Is that where you walked into? Did you say film school?
Yeah, the New York Film Academy.
So what was it about walking in there and seeing that place that kind of piqued your interest?
You know, it was like it dawned on me that people learned to be actors. I don't know. I had no, an industry that you're not familiar with at all. You're like, I guess people are born into this or they have some sort of in. And then it was just an eye opener that you could acquire this skill through education. And I mean, people had always said various things like you should try modeling and stuff, just because I'm a square-jawed white guy, and so I was like, well, maybe this could be a route. And Entourage was big at the time, and that was shamefully something I was very interested in. And
man, I hate it for you and Janice, really.
I'm painting a very nice picture of who I was as an 18-year-old.
Hated the theater nerds, loved Entourage, had a temporary girlfriend.
Yeah,
he's
I had much to learn about
everybody.
the world. Yeah, likable guy.
So this is very different for us, which is great. So you travel the world, Australia, Fiji with Janice, not important, but you get back from that and you start bartending. Were you bartending to support your acting habits? Like, was this I'm going to be an actor and I'm going to make ends meet until I can be an actor? Or were you bartending and you were like, maybe the acting thing will work out. If not, like, I'll just do whatever. I love Edmonton, whatever.
When I left my hometown, my like dream was to be a part-time bartender, part-time actor. I was like, this is the coolest life I can imagine. And I got 3 or 4 years deep on that and just wanted to shoot myself because I hated bartending so much. Yeah, that was for me, that was a dead end road. So no, I was very much doing that temporarily and as little as I could, and saving all my shekels to pay for acting classes and equipment for self tapes and stuff like that. So I did 2 years of university too, and then dropped out. But
yeah, I mean, you want to be an actor. I mean, come on, you got to get serious at some point. What was the first big booking? The first thing you booked that you were like, oh my goodness, was it Arrow? Was Arrow the thing?
Arrow
like,
was Arrow was like the second or third, but the biggest thing, the first professional gig I had was a phone dating commercial.
Yeah,
there you were.
Yeah. It was called Live Links, and
and Janice was not having it. She said, "It's either the commercial or me, baby."
I think we were still together at the time, and I think she was elated for me. Like for us in our hometown, I had like made it with this phone dating commercial.
Live Links.
The fact that this thing was appearing on TV at like 3 a.m., I was like,
oh yeah,
boom. I was flexing.
Were you?
For
do you remember like a line? Do you remember a line from it?
Yeah, it's all about. It's actually a scene between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and the boyfriend's watching the football game, and the girlfriend is like, "Don't forget, we got dinner with so and so, and we got plans with this person." Da da da. And I'm just like dialed in on the game, and then she goes, "Have you heard anything I've said?" And then I recite it all back to her really quickly, and then the tagline is like, "Women like a guy who listens. Call Live Links to find a listener." And yeah.
So this was like an above board company.
Yeah,
you're not talking the dirty.
No,
this is just
I wasn't,
for connection.
Yeah, I wasn't like looking into the camera like, "Hey, I'll talk to you late at night" or anything. So it was a little bit of acting. So it felt like I had made it.
Well, a memorably bad audition, Marcus. Like one that you just left and you went, "How did that just happen? They're never going to call. No one's ever going to call."
I mean, so many, so many. Every once in a while, still. Yeah, there was one for. Oh, you know what? I got to audition for, based off of the Arrow audition. They really liked my tape, but I was just way too young, and so they sent it to the people who make Die Hard. I can't remember what studio that is or was at the time, but it was
Fox, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was Fox. And they were like, "Hey, we need somebody that looks." I guess they needed somebody that looked like Bruce Willis to play his son, and I guess I must have, and so they sent that tape there, and then the executives that were gearing up to to make a new movie with his son. The role eventually went to Jai Courtney. And so they sent this script, and I was the only one in Vancouver that got to audition for it, and I was just so nervous. I had literally been auditioning for like 4 or 5 months, and then everybody around me was like, "This could be it. This is it, man. Like, this is your big break." Like, some people just launch out of the cannon immediately, and I just like prepared myself so much for this audition, and I did too much, and I went in. I just was so nervous. Well, what really happened is I showed up at the audition. They had sent me dummy sides, and I learned the audition. I didn't know what it was for, and then I showed up to do the audition, and they were like, "Oh, here's the script if you want to take a quick look at it." And I looked at it, and it was like, "Live Free or Die Hard," and I realized this was for friggin' Die Hard, and
you didn't know
like,
it was for Die Hard until you got in the room?
Like, as I'm walking into the room.
Oh,
Like, they
no.
were like, "Here's the script if you want to provide any context for the scene that we sent you," because all the names had been changed and everything.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
And so immediately I was gone, because like I grew up on Die Hard. I love Die Hard.
Are you kidding me?
Trying to keep it
Yeah.
hush hush.
So you think it's just some Fox action movie? And what do you think it changes? Like, if they don't ever tell you it's Die Hard, do you think you really go in there and crush it?
Yeah, but I still don't get the role because this Jai Courtney guy he'd already
Jai
done
Courtney's
this,
pretty
that,
good.
and the other, and it was never going to go to me. But it would have felt good to walk out of that feeling like I had done a good job, and I did not get that. So,
dude, that's unreal. That's just mean spirited, boy.
Yeah, it was bad timing. They FedExed it. It wouldn't send it over like online, so they FedExed it, and it just didn't show up until that exact like moment. It was weird.
Gracious.
Classic FedEx.
Classic FedEx.
Classic FedEx situation. So you're acting here and there. You're doing some things. What was some stuff early on? Like, I imagine you're kind of learning on the fly because you didn't go to school. You're doing some classes here and there. Was there some roles that you got that you felt were really transformational for you as an actor, where you really felt like I learned to be a better actor here? Like I can learn from the people around me or whatever it may be.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's certain people you run into. There's certain jobs. Honestly, a lot of the short films that I've done over the years, those have been like the most fulfilling, or the most, like the best opportunity to go for depth in stuff, because a lot of network television is very it's a little formulaic. I mean, and so that's the stuff that's really fulfilling. In class stuff, anybody that takes class regularly as an actor, I think will tell you like their best work probably happened inside in acting class, and that's definitely the case for me. But yeah, so those kinds of things. There's certain people you run into. Andrew Walker, actually, it's so funny you mentioned him before. One of my first Hallmark movies, I was playing like the guy who he steals the girl from, basically. And that dude was just so cool and like nice and like had his shit together and was like managing this business on the side, and the juice company that he has.
The
with his
juice,
family.
Little West Juice. We know all about it. Don't worry.
About the juice.
Yeah, and so that was one of the people I looked at for sure in the Hallmark universe and thought like, okay, this guy's got this sort of dialed in. Warren Christie is an actor that I ran into at one point, and he was just delightful. So yeah, you see, the Supernatural guys, actually, they're the best dudes in the whole business. I think they are the nicest people, the most fun, the coolest guys. They had been doing the show for like 15 years by the time I got there. And everyone says the same thing. They're like the nicest humans.
I feel like you have to be, because at some point
you're just playing with house money. You're just goofing off.
It's not even fun, serious. Like, you're just in purgatory, right? Like 15 years. I know every actor's like, listen, I dream to be on a serial, but after 8 or 9 seasons, when you know you're going to be syndicated, that's gotta, I mean, like, you really have to love it. You have to love what you do and be kind to people at that point, right?
I mean, you'd think, but those paychecks just keep coming. And so I've seen a lot of actors that just keep showing up because the paychecks are there, and you show up on these sets and they don't want to talk to anybody, don't want to look at anybody, learn their lines the moment before the camera rolls, leave as soon as they can. But it was the opposite of those guys. They created like an environment that was fun for everybody to be there. They had fun, and then at the end of the week, they would get on their private jet and fly back to Austin, Texas, and
That's fantastic.
spend the weekend with their family, and then fly back on Monday morning. Like I was like, these guys have figured out.
That is how to do it right there.
No kidding.
For sure.
How'd you ultimately get hooked up with Hallmark? Obviously you're Canadian, so that helps a little bit, because they're all made up there and that helps. But what was the first initial role contact that you had there?
Yeah, I mean, Hallmark is a big spinning vortex that sucks in every actor in Vancouver, definitely, and sucked me in. Uh, what was the first thing I did? It might have been that movie I did with Andrew called oh, Dash of Love, Dash for Love. No, that wasn't it. Okay, this is bad. I should remember. But I basically started
Is it
playing for, like,
Appetite for Love with Andrew Walker and
well done.
Taylor Cole?
Well done. Big
I mean,
save. Yeah, that was it. That was it. And so I think that was one of the very first ones. I basically played like the number 3, which is the guy who hates Christmas and and wears a suit, and you know, you've seen him get dumped a million times. That was
Just Dan in real life.
So I did that for like 2 years, and I can't even remember how many of those I did, but I did a lot, and they still air. And yeah, every time I get the girl now, everyone's like, "Oh, he's getting the girl." It's like I stuffed all those movies into like an 18-month span, but it was with me. So yeah, that was how.
Wow.
You got to be in the show that is really the bane of my existence, which is When Calls the Heart. You got to be in 7 episodes of that television program as the foil to Jack and Elizabeth. Like, you know, Jack thinks there's a chance, you know, Elizabeth's off in the big city of Hamilton. We review the show, Marcus, once a week.
Oh, Marcus is from Hamilton.
Yeah, Marcus is from Hamilton.
Sorry, I blocked out Hamilton.
Yeah, we all try to. And it's not because of Marcus.
No, Marcus.
Sure.
No, I've heard.
But oh yeah, I'm sure the Hardys have let you know that that's the worst part of the show. Not you, but Hamilton. How'd you get roped in there? And did you think you were going to get longer than the 7 or 8 episodes, or did you know that it was just like a 1 season arc?
Oh no, definitely. I mean, especially the way it ends at the end of the 2nd season. This is major cliffhanger where I proposed to her, and then it's like, what's she gonna say? My impression of that, and I don't think it's a problem to say, but their plan, I think, was to continue that sort of storyline, and then they realized the audience just was not interested in that at all. They really liked the small town feel of it, and trying to expand that world was not well received, nor was my character coming in between the 2 leads. So
yeah, too much drama there, Marcus. You infused the program with actual stakes, and that was a problem.
You said it, not me. Yeah. The irony is I'm shooting this next movie in Hamilton on Wednesday. That's funny. The actual Hamilton.
There's a real Hamilton.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Come to Canada sometime.
Wow.
I've been to Ontario, Kingston once, which across the border.
Yeah.
That's it. And so that's pretty much all of Canada to me. So I feel like I got it covered.
Pretty much. It looks like every other part.
That's right. Yeah. Of course.
That's I totally forgot that you propose, season ends,
and then it's just nothing.
The next season starts, and she's like, "Oh no, I said no to him."
Yeah.
And that's it.
You know, oh, that guy who I've known my whole life and just proposed to me. It was a no from me.
It was no big deal.
I know. Like, so how'd that go? I think he's chopping wood, and she just saunters up.
I don't even think we don't even get to see you, do we?
No,
Does she even say no? No, that's it.
No, I am gone. They were like, we do not want to see that guy's face again. Get him out of here.
Do you think when you filmed that last scene when you were proposing, in your head they yell cut, and you're like, man, I'm about to make serial money. Like, I'm gonna be here next season, season after that.
It was the first time I had like been on like a whole season of a show, and I was still very new to. I think I was like under 2 years into actually professionally acting, and I was like, this is it. I was like, I'm on this one now. and then Erin called me one day, Erin Krakow. She called me one day, and she's like, I don't know if anyone's told you, but they're not bringing you back. And I was like, oh, Okay, well, I appreciate you calling me. It's like, 'cause
Like,
you didn't have to do this, uh, and so, yeah, that was how I found out.
they're bringing me back for you to say no to me, right?
No,
Yeah.
No,
no, just like
actually,
one scene, right? Just like a SAG minimum, like just a quick like
they're not
cameo.
bringing-
They're not even.
Like,
No,
surely they wanna wrap it up in some logical manner.
what
No?
I
Aaron
think
was
we're
like.
actually gonna act like it never happened.
We're just gonna act like Hamilton wasn't a thing. Is what's gonna do.
That's exactly what they did.
Aaron is like, so Janice called us.
And she told us about you.
She said she talked about what happened in Fiji, and it was like,
And he was like always on some weird like boyfriend phone line. I don't know. But we can't have that.
It's a no for us. We can't have that level of character on the show.
But what's so interesting is Daniel Lissing only makes it another
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
I wonder if they ever, were kicking themselves. I mean, you can't obviously, but if they keep you along at least, like, hey, still interested, still throwing stones at your window at night. Like,
I think everything my character represented was not what that show called for, and so that was just never going to be.
But you could have done what everybody else does, where they come to Hope Valley and they change.
That's
like
right.
Hope Valley changes them, and
I mean,
the place for change. That's true.
Totally true. I keep telling because I did this movie with Andrea Brooks, who's on the show, and then Chris McNally is like, we were buddies before either of us had ever booked a professional gig. We were in class together and everything in Vancouver. And I keep telling her, I was like, the only way I'm going to come back, I think, is if Chris and I have a pistol duel in the streets, and he shoots me dead for Aaron's honor.
Once again, it would be so great now that she's with Lucas. You come back under the show.
Hey, what about that proposal? Have you had a chance?
I never heard back actually on the proposal.
Man,
is it a yes or a no?
Still waiting.
You've done a lot of these movies, Marcus, and you've played anything from the lead to like that 3 or 4 on the call sheet. I know it's a 15-day shoot. What's the difference from a preparation and shooting standpoint from being the guy who's like the ex-boyfriend or the has-been boyfriend about to be dumped versus the lead? Like, are you shooting 5 days versus 15? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Probably like 5 to 15 is a good ratio that is typical. In terms of preparation, it's it's funny playing the lead guy. You sort of, once you get in the rhythm, once you've done enough of them, you're like, okay, this is the tone to hit. With the ones that we make, I try to find different character aspects to lean into and to try different things. But it is funny. It took a while, I think, for me to get comfortable with the tone of some of these movies, and I think this is the same for some actors, where you want to be, I don't know, there's a disposition to the character that you need to apply that will suit this sort of story, and I actually found it much easier to tap into the the jerky boyfriend guy. So it's like, this guy, it's very clear what this guy wants. He's just
Yes,
all about business, and he's gonna get dumped, and but with the leads, you kind of need to stay a little more even keel, and yeah.
Put this in order of makes the most money to makes the least amount of money. The leads, best friend, ex-boyfriend or current boyfriend who's a jerk, parents.
Like in the movies?
Yeah.
The leads will make significantly more, and then everyone else makes the same. Everyone else, yeah.
Wow.
Based on their amount of work. Everyone else makes the same relative to the amount of work.
Right. Everybody who works 5 days is getting paid the same.
Yeah. Since we're talking about salary with Marcus, which I'm super happy you brought it up. We do this all the time, Marcus. How many episodes of When Calls the Heart equal the salary of like a movie? A lead.
Episodes of When Calls the Heart equal the salary of a movie. I mean, it's going to vary for so many actors based on what their rates are and stuff. Generalizing, if I had to generalize, I'd say 2.5 to 3 eps of one of those standard salaries would equal a movie.
So that's why, man, you can be on a season of 10 episodes. You do your 3 movies in the bank and you do all your filming at once, and then you get syndicated stuff if it goes to Netflix and everything. I
Yeah,
mean,
get on a
come on.
series is the key if you're doing our
Man.
job.
Yeah, then you can get back to bartending.
The real stuff.
That's right.
Get back to Fiji.
That's right. Yeah. How did you get to Fiji? Real talk. Like, how do you don't just wind up?
From
in
what
Fiji.
I understand, you left Janice there. Is that right?
I left her there emotionally. We what did we do? We landed in Sydney, Australia. Actually, you know what's funny is I was talking to Dan Lissing when we were doing the show, and we figured out that he was playing in the house band of a hostel that I stayed in when I first arrived in Sydney, Australia. And
Wow.
I was there a night that he was playing, and I didn't realize we would have never realized this unless we really talked about it. But yeah, that was a baffling revelation.
Did you just decide to go down there to vacation or what?
I had just graduated from high school in a tiny little town in the tundra of northern Canada, and I was like, I need to see the world. And so we just hopped on a plane and decided to do the backpacking. There's a pretty standard backpacking route from Sydney, Australia, up to Cairns, which is the east coast. And so we just hopped on a bus and did that and saw the beaches and kangaroos and stuff. And then
Wow.
when we got to Cairns, one of the nearest places was Fiji, and so we just hopped on another flight and went over to Fiji, and then bumped around those islands.
Unbelievable.
I'm sorry. I'm just still laughing at Janice, and that's not. I'm just making up a story in my mind.
Yeah, we all are.
But the difference between a permanent girlfriend and a temporary girlfriend is a backpacking trip.
That's right.
That's how you find out.
When you know.
That's when the rubber meets the road, or
It's so true.
the trail.
If you want to really test it, the best stress test for a relationship is traveling or living together, I guess. And
that's right.
You can't pass that.
So you mentioned that you're now like a part of making these movies, bringing them to Edmonton. What kind of was that evolution like for you from just being in them to maybe being more a part of the creative process and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, once I was able to quit the bartending in my early 20s there, I was finally this actor guy. I was making enough to get by, and in my mind, I had made it. But then suddenly, I had all this free time in between projects that I really assumed I would love, and I hated it. I just felt so unfulfilled. It'd be a month or two between gigs, and I'd do nothing but, I don't know, go to the gym and then putz around Vancouver, and so I just never been much of a hobbyist, and I always felt like I was sort of underutilizing, my potential, and so then right before the pandemic, I got the call to do a movie in Edmonton, very serendipitous, being directed and produced by my now producing partner, Dylan Pierce. And he didn't even know I was from Edmonton. And so I came and he offered me an executive producing credit. And I really took it and ran. I showed up for pre-production, learned all the ropes, and then stuck around after and was learning how the editing is done and just all the processes. And then after that, I went and negotiated a deal with another production company to let us service a few of their films in Edmonton. And so now we've started our own little production company and are pumping out MOWs under my banner. And so yeah.
Is it with Johnson?
No, I do a lot with Tim Johnson's, but no, I've just acted in his projects before, not
Gotcha.
Not servicing for them.
Which of these MOWs are you the proudest of? Like, not necessarily that you've produced, but the one that you've been in that you would say, they're all great. Oh, the cast and crew's always great, blah, blah, blah. We hear that a bunch, but like, which one is the one that you were like, either this was the most fun or this one I'm proud of my work, or I just really am proud of how it turned out? Which one sticks out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try not to be so diplomatic about this, but it is fun. It's like, it's always recency bias with these things. It's always like the thing that you just made. You're like, oh, that's the best thing. And then you want to hire all those people again. You want to work with all those people again. But we just finished one in Edmonton that I acted in and produced. So it's not just something I produced, but That was my favorite one so far, just because we had I literally hired my mom to do our COVID supervising, and my producing partner's wife was one of our producers, and we hired a student from my old high school to do a walk on role. We had all the
Wow.
like people from our town coming to fill in scenes as extras and stuff, and so those are the most fun by far.
What was that one called? Like, is it
That
out yet?
It's not out yet. We just wrapped up post production last week. It's going to be called From Italy with Amore. Um, yeah, meaning from Italy with love.
I got you. No, I'm following. Yeah,
I did not choose the title, but I don't hate it either. It's fine.
Do you ever hate a title so much you go in and go, "Can we change this?" Do you ever do that bit?
Oh, all the time. All the time. They usually change. They usually
Right.
Yeah.
Usually on the call sheet is not the title that ends up coming out when the thing airs, because there's just so many processes to actually get the title approved for screening. And so in the beginning it'll be like, oh, this sounds clever, and then you got to go through all like insurance and everything, make sure no other movie has this title, and all these steps. So
You have one coming out on the Hallmark Channel later this month. Romance to the Rescue. Does that sound like the one?
that does sound like one that I did recently. That's the one with Andrea Brooks.
Yes.
Yeah.
We know
Nathan
her.
Witt. Yeah. Andrew's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, she's great.
She's great.
Yeah. How long ago did you shoot that sucker? And I feel like you have like a handful in the hopper, which is not always the case.
Yeah, there's a bunch in the can right now. That one we shot exactly a year ago in Vancouver. Yeah, in spring of 2021. And then we got From Italy with Amore in the can. We got something else coming out on Amazon in June. And then we're going into production on, I guess I just did one for this other company. Yeah, there's a lot. We're doing two back in Edmonton in July and August, actually. So we're in production on those right now too.
I see in the chat, in the Double Decker chat on BrambleJamPlus.com, that somebody said you played a serial killer on Lifetime. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I did a few of these Lifetime movies where these Lifetime thrillers, and I was like, it was called The Killer in the Basement, and I rented out an Airbnb in somebody's basement and then seduced them and attempted to kill everybody in their life. And then I did the same thing in a sequel called Killer in the Guest House.
Yeah, you didn't get killed in the first or the sequel. So when you're preparing, like, do you picture Janice specifically?
Oh,
I'm not touching that one. She's wonderful. We were very young. She has a family. We both learned a lot in life. I wish her nothing but the best. Oh man!
Shout out!
Got him.
But so you at this point though, you're on the production side of things. You're on the creative side, but what you seem to like doing is more of these family friendly ones. Maybe not the Lifetime thriller. Is that accurate, or would you be interested in spicing up the movie of the week type of movie you're making?
Yeah, we've considered doing some thrillers under our banner, but it really comes down to what can you do with the budgets provided for these movies, and it's always been my opinion that it's much easier to make a rom-com look good and an acceptable level of production quality than it is to make a thriller look good under the same money.
That's fair.
Is there something you've not gotten to do as an actor that you would like? I'm sure there's a lot you want to do, but like something that you love, like a particular genre or type of film or TV show that you'd really love to do that you've never really gotten to be a part of?
Yeah, more comedy. Definitely more comedy. I'm in something that's coming out in June. It's a full-on comedy. It stars Sarah Hyland from Modern Family and Dylan Sprouse, one half of the Sprouse twins. And
I love the Sprouse twins.
Yeah, and so I'm in that, and that was a total departure from any of this Hallmark stuff, which was nice because it's nice to just have both things. But I would love to do more full-on comedy.
Fantastic.
Is that the Amazon thing?
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called My Fake Boyfriend. And
okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen one that sells his stuff less than Marcus. Marcus, like, I've got one here and one there. You don't need to know the titles. It's it's fine. Whatever. If you see it,
watch
great.
them.
If
Don't
not,
watch
no
them.
big deal.
It's up to you. Like I'm not gonna tell you.
That's the Canadian in me. I'm like,
That's right. Yeah.
Don't talk about yourself too much.
I'm sure you have other stuff.
about
I'm sure you have other
yourself.
stuff to do. You have other stuff. We're all busy. We're all busy.
We're all busy. Yeah, I've got one here, one there, one everywhere. If you turn on the TV, you'll probably see me, but I don't want to really give you any more details.
It's really up
than
to
that.
you.
That would be.
It's up to you.
This is a common gripe with people in my life. They're like, it's okay to just inform people. I'm like, nah, I don't want to push it. It sounds corny.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Self-promotion's hard for me.
For sure. Yeah.
It's just a weird bit.
It is.
But you got to do it these days. Am I right?
You got to. You want to rapid fire?
Let's rapid fire. We each get to ask you 3 random questions. It's very different than what we've been doing. And you get to answer it as quickly and honestly as you would like to. Really, it's up to you. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do is fine here. Dan?
The best meal in Edmonton.
Boston pizza.
Boston
you know what that
pizza?
is? Oh, maybe
No.
you don't know. No, that's so Canadian. That's so Canadian. Everybody rips on me for liking Boston pizza. It's a chain restaurant across
called
Canada
Boston Pizza.
Boston Pizza. Yeah. There's a guy on the original Shark Tank show.
Kevin O'Leary.
Nah, one of the other guys.
The other guy with
Not
the
Mark
tech.
Cuban.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. One of the other guys owns Boston. Anyway, it's anybody in Canada. It's like the Applebee's of like Italian restaurants, basically.
Is that your real answer? That's the answer. You're going with the best meal in Edmonton is Boston
Look,
pizza.
I love Edmonton and I love all of Alberta, but in terms of interesting cultural cuisine, it's not a hot spot.
Fair.
Yeah.
Boston pizza.
You never did see it coming.
It's just what it's called.
Yeah.
It's just Boston pizza.
You know how Boston's famous for their pizza.
Yeah, why did they do that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Kansas Lobster if you don't mind.
Kansas Lobster. What are you watching these days? What's tickling your fancy? What are you watching late at night?
Oh man, Drive to Survive on repeat. The Netflix F1 show. Have you?
Oh, I've heard about this. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, but I've not seen it yet. But I hear it's like so addictive.
It's so niche and hipster right now, but like.
But even if you don't like F1, you would like it.
Tyler Hines was going on about it the other day.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And I've just gotten like totally absorbed with the entire sport because of it. And it's so good. Outer Range just premiered. I had auditioned for that a couple of years back and read that pilot, and it was one of the best pilots I've ever read. The show's great. It's different than what I imagined, but it's really good. Josh Brolin's incredible.
Oh wow.
Those things.
How often do you watch things? This is not my second question. This is B part. How often do you watch things that you auditioned for that you didn't get?
Not a lot. Definitely. Yeah, not a lot. There is a little stink on it after that, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
If it's something like really good, then I'm like, this is just fantastic. And I had no chance of being in it anyway, like Outer Range. I'm like, I got to watch this. But there are some things that I'm like, that was mine for the taking. If if a few things fell in the right place, and then I can't really watch it. But that's just vanity.
Well, thank God you got that phone line commercial, because now you can watch it.
That's right. Anytime
every day,
you want.
every day, every night. No problem.
Nobody can take that away from me.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
All right, Oilers Kings. I need you just a quick breakdown, like a 1 minute breakdown of what's going to be the decisive factor in the Oilers beating the Kings, and what's the run to the cup. Like, what are you worried about getting to the cup?
Okay, well, defense is why we're going to win the first round against the Kings. It's been our Achilles heel for many, many years now, and I mean, we have the 2 best players in the league, in my opinion. Definitely the 1 best player in the league, in Connor McDavid. But now we finally have some defensive efforts. Mike Smith, our goalie, is getting hot at the right time, even though he's about to keel over and die any minute because he's a million years old. Everybody loves him in Edmonton. He's such a good old boy. But that's why we're going to get past the first round. What scares me in terms of winning the cup is Calgary, because they are so hot right now, and we're going to face them in the second round most likely. And that'll be epic though to play them in the second round.
Andrew Walker's a huge Toronto Maple Leafs fan, and so if it's somehow Oilers Maple Leafs, we need to have them both on at the same time, just to argue about it, because it would be a very kind argument, I feel like, between the two of you, and I would love that.
Hey, when it comes to sports, the gloves come off. So
I love
Andrew better be ready to bring it then.
I love that.
Fantastic.
Do you still get out on the ice ever? Do you still go play hockey with the boys?
Yeah, it's pretty hard not to when you live up here, to be honest, because anytime I'm home and there's snow on the ground, everyone's like, they want to get out to the ODR, play shinny. And so I do a lot of that. Yeah.
You just spoke a different language.
Play
briefly.
shinny?
ODR and play shinny. I don't know what you just said.
Outdoor rink.
Outdoor
The
rink.
ODR.
The
Play
ODR.
shinny?
Yeah.
What's shinny?
Shinny's like pickup hockey.
Oh, okay.
Of course it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, out to the ODR and play shinny. You
go
get
to
it.
the ODR and play shinny,
Yeah.
2-on-2 nonchalant.
Marcus, we're in South Carolina. It snows like
yeah.
once a decade. Like ODR and shinny, like you're just talking snow right now. We don't know what you're saying.
You guys ever watch Letterkenny?
Oh yeah, we do watch
Canadian
that.
show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
we
haven't
do.
seen it, but I need to.
There's a whole Canadian language to be learned through that
There
show.
is, and it's going real fast for sure.
Yeah.
Last one for me, like what's a movie you saw in the theater, either as a child, teenager, whatever, that really made an impact? Like you left the theater and you went, oh my goodness, that was amazing. I want to do this, or I just can't believe I saw that.
Little construction here, guys. Sorry about that.
You're fine.
Yeah, Jerry Maguire is the reason
Yeah.
why I started acting, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah, I had an absentee father, and I had a few pictures of him around the house, and that my mom would just hang on to, and he looked so much like Tom Cruise that I swear in my like tiny little child brain I conflated the two people. And when I saw Jerry Maguire and just how fast he talked and how much like charisma he had, and the fact that it was involved with sports, which I was already becoming a big fan of, I was like, this guy is amazing. And for many years I thought I wanted to be a sports agent, but it turns out I just wanted to play one on TV. So
Dude, that is such a great story, but also breaks my heart as a father. Like, you know, like both of those things are true. That was way more heartwarming and sentimental than I was expecting. Nicely done, but also, man, that's brutal.
I'll close with this and we'll keep it heartwarming. I'll allow you. I'll give you. You can look right at the camera and you can make amends with Janice. Well, I'll make you full screen. This is your time.
That's right.
To finally just put this thing to bed. Marcus, speak right to the camera. Speak to the Janice. Share your heart.
Janice, as you'll be known for these purposes, it worked out for both of us in the way that it was always meant to, and I wish you and your family nothing but the best. And I hope it doesn't hurt when you see me on TV.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Marcus.
I love it.
Marcus, that I think is going to go a long way.
It's going to go a long way. Dude, you are just the best, man. You're a scholar and a gentleman, and we appreciate you spending some time with us today. Thank you so much for doing it, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It was a lot of fun.
And we end every one of these by wishing our guests a very Merry Christmas.